And here we are again. This is the Gracious Hope Live podcast, and it is always a pleasure to be here with you on a Saturday. It is a weekend, and it's a time to celebrate another weekend because there's no work for some of you who are off. No work. I believe it is a time now to spend on your leisure. It's a leisure time to join us here. And we are so appreciative of you being part of the Gracious Hope Live podcast. I'm your host. My name is Alexander Redd. And of course, Reverend Suah Deddeh is also here as a co host. And today, our main discussion is going to be focusing on the Liberian journalists. That is, the Liberian journalists who are residing in the United States. We have an organization called the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, ALJA, ALJA, and its president, Mr. Suah S. Mason, is our guest today, and we are so delighted to have him here. And he will be talking about the upcoming 2023 National Convention, which starts on September the 14th on the Thursday, and then throughout until the 17th. So all ALJA members, that is all Liberian journalists living in the United States, retired, and some still working with the media in Liberia, will be meeting from Thursday next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we'll be going into the detail of what to expect at the convention this year. And this year is pivotal in the history of ALJA because it is the election year where the outgoing president, who is the incumbent now, he has served 2 terms, and he has done so diligently. And we are proud of him. And he will be talking about the program today and talk a little bit about his legacy and how emerging leaders or those that will be coming after him or his predecessor will see ALJA in the same light as he sees it, as well as those that came before. And so today, it is a pleasure to have Mr. Suah S. Mason here as our guest. But before we bring our guest on, let us bring on Reverend Suah S. Deddeh, the co-host of this program. Reverend Deddeh, I'm so glad to see you here, all dressed up in your
Where's your
ALJA.
ALJA hat, man?
ALJA.
Where is your ALJA hat
I
and
know I should
T-shirt?
have
This
I
is
should have
not
done
fair
it.
to
Wait, maybe I
ALJA.
can
I'm
grab it.
telling
Maybe
you.
I can grab it.
I'm
Hold
gonna
on.
just take you on right now, man. This is not fair to ALJA. You
Sorry,
need to, I'm
sorry,
not
I
gonna
can't.
say anything. I'm not gonna say anything else until you get your ALJA,
Okay, okay, then keep
ALJA
talking.
outfit.
Keep
No
talking.
way. This is not
Keep
fair to
talking.
ALJA. We will be celebrating this coming weekend, and Ellis is not wearing this hat and T-shirt, so I intended to take on him quickly before we even start the program because he has to be properly dressed for the ALJA event. He was having something different from ALJA, and I bet you the president is wearing his ALJA outfit, and he's not doing that. I'm going to fire him for that, and I'll report him to the president when I see the president. But anyway, welcome to the Gracious Hope of Live podcast. My name is Pastor Suah S. Deddeh. I'm the co-host. We will be hosting our own president today. Don't forget, we are all former journalists, and we take this very seriously. We work as journalists back in Liberia, and even in America, we still have that heart, that experience, that professionalism to still practice journalism. But we now veer into other areas of the professional lives. I'm now in the clergy, and Ellis is also in clergy and teaching the rest of that. So we are glad to be part of ALJA, even in our professional uh, 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 um, capacities. ALJA has come a long way, and that's why we are glad today that we can discuss this upcoming convention in Minnesota. Uh, President Mason and his team of co-workers have worked diligently to bring ALJA where it is. Before that, when ALJA went into a little sleep, we had the situation where ALJA was not active at a certain time, and Moses Sandy and other Corps of officers resurrected ALJA. And that's why we are happy because ALJA almost died and ALJA is resurrected. So we celebrate this time together, journalists in America, journalists from Liberia, coming together as friends and colleagues to discuss the future of ALJA. So we are glad to have the president of ALJA with us today. Normally we don't call him honorable, but today we're going to call him the Honorable Suah S. Mason Jr. He does not like that. Trust me, he does not like. He does not like all this fanfare when you want to give him all these long titles. He's just a simple, down to earth man. We've known the president for a long time back in Liberia and here, but especially here when he's giving everything to ALJA. I mean, he's a family man, has to do his own thing as a family man, but he's giving everything to ALJA he has, and that's what it should be about: service to society, service to community, and he's doing that. His tenure is coming to an end this time, but he's still going to be involved in ALJA's activities. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. So while Ellis is getting his ALJA hat, if he does not get it, we're not live on the show today. We are serious about this. We will just do it without him. So let me just bring in President Mason to this program today. He's already here. I hope he comes up and out. That's the face is kind of a little dark, but we can still see him. Mr. President, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Wonderful, wonderful. I just want to just report Alex to you right now. He's not wearing his ALJA hat and t-shirt, and I thought to get him quickly before you even start. So welcome, Mr. President. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Reverend Deddeh, thank you for the invitation to Alex now wearing his ALJA attire. I think he recognizes that I'm a lame duck president now. So, so normally he will be in his hat and his t-shirt, but he's probably saying to himself, this man is out of the door literally. So I'm not going to wear my attire.
But we were not allowed that. We're not allowed that. No way.
Reverend Deddeh, thank you so much, and to you and Dr. Redd for the invitation to be on again today and talk about ALJA and our convention coming up. I know Alex is not here, but I also want to say thanks to you and Dr. Redd for just the extraordinary work you all have done for ALJA over the last several years. Prior to me being president and even while I was president, also for the fact that you've always been gracious and hosting us on the platform, to talk about our work and more importantly, the work that ALJA has done. So on behalf of my co-op officers, I want to say thank you so very much. I'm deeply grateful.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's always a pleasure, and we see it as a pride to have our own self, one of ourselves. I mean, you been in this thing for a long time. I remember back on the radio in Liberia. Let me not go there. Let me not jump ahead of myself. let me not jump, guys. So love that program. I love that because religion is my era, and I just love it. You and Malcolm Joseph. I can't Sunday before I went to church on Sunday. I always listen to that and say, okay, what am I going to say today? My service was 11 o'clock, so I had time to listen to the program, yeah, before I went. But after our convention is coming up, and people are gearing up. Our colleagues are gearing up. We know some are coming from Liberia. And in other diaspora, if they can come, and our colleagues here are also fired up and ready for the convention. So bring us to speed. Where are we now with the convention?
So the convention planning is in full steam. It's on full gear. Extremely grateful to. There he is.
We accept that. That is it. We accept that.
Yes, we'll accept the shirt, even though he's not wearing the hat. But
he's not wearing a hat. We accept that. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. President.
Yeah, so I want to be grateful to the organizing committee headed by Mrs. Monique Shaw-Giddings and co-chaired by Dr. McDonough Meska. The team has been doing an extraordinary work. Here in Minnesota, they say we do big things. And so they're trying to do the very best to pull off one of the biggest conventions that we've had, as ALJA. And so I'm so grateful to them for all the planning. And I'm looking forward to us kicking off on Thursday, the 14th, for our annual convention.
So that's great. I know we have a lot of activities beginning on Thursday. So would you just take us through the different events and what time from Thursday to Sunday?
Good. So on Thursday, and like you mentioned prior to when the show started, that there will be a number of our colleagues from outside the U.S. And I'm so very grateful because this is the first time since COVID that quite a few of our colleagues from Liberia will be joining us. And I'm excited because they do bring value to our convention. One of the things we try to do consistently over the last several years when we plan these conventions, we do that with our colleagues in mind. We do a number of different training workshops just to make sure that they're coming and benefiting from the workshops that we are planning in partnership with institutions that we've collaborated with over the years, including but not limited to the University of Minnesota. We have a partnership with the school, the Herbert School of Journalism there. So they will be involved in our training this year. The expertise that they have, the professors from the school. But I'll back out a little bit. On Thursday, we'll begin with a tour of a number of prominent media houses here in Minnesota. At 10 o'clock in the morning, we will visit the Minnesota Public Radio. I believe it is the largest public radio here in the state. They accommodated us in 2019, and they're pleased that we're going back this year, especially for those who will be joining the convention for the first time, to see how the systems they work, what sort of structures they have in place, what sort of technology they have in place, so that way they're learning and going back and hopefully putting some of these processes in play back at their own institutions. And then we'll do a tour of some of the beautiful sights and scenes we have here in Minnesota, downtown Minneapolis, between 11:30, 12 o'clock. And then we'll head back up to another community television station called CCX Media at about 1 o'clock. We'll also tour their facilities as well. And then later on in the evening on Thursday, we will do the pre-meet and greet. This is on Thursday at the home of one of the local chapter members. On Friday, we will do the workshop that I talked about earlier. Again, I'm really pleased about this partnership we have not with the University of Minnesota, but also the community integration that is also attached to the University of Minnesota. They will be a part of the training that we'll do on that Friday. So the training will run from 9 in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And after the training, the group will head off to Stillwater, Minnesota, where we will do the boat ride. Later on that evening, for about 2 hours, we'll do dinner on the boat. It's a way of, obviously, I mean, ALJA convention not complete without the camaraderie. We value the friendship that we've shared over the last several years, and whenever we meet, we tend to enhance the relationship by doing these kinds of intimate events. We'll do the boat ride later on that Friday evening, and then we'll head back to another member home to do the formal meet and greet that Friday evening. And that will take us into day three of the convention, which is on Saturday, the 16th of September. That is a big day for us because that is the General Assembly where we talk about our activities, reflect on the past, and look forward to the future. I will be presenting my report. There will be reports from the different chapters that constitute the organization. And then you talked about it, Deddeh, something you're in charge of. We will go towards elections to elect new corp officers that will steer the affairs of ALJA for the next 2 years. But prior to that, we will have what we call the Presidential Forum. We recognize that as an organization, we are uniquely positioned to be able to provide information, not just as ourselves, but have the candidates who have announced and put forward themselves to run for the highest office in our nation. We believe that it's incumbent upon them to speak to the voters and lay out their platforms and tell them why they are seeking this office. So we want to be able to engender that discussion in something we call the Presidential Forum. We've engaged, because of time limitation, we can talk to all 20 of the candidates, but we've reached out to the top tier candidates to say, hey, this is something we want to do, and we believe it will be beneficial to your own campaign, but also more so to the population where they're hearing from you directly, not in a debate style, but at least in a forum where we engage in them one after the other, where people can be able to contrast one person's platform versus the next person. So we've heard so far. We've gotten positive feedback from a number of the candidates. We're so hopeful that others will respond. Be that as it may, we will have the forum on that Saturday morning, and we're looking forward to all the candidates that we engage being on that forum. So that will be what happens in the first half of Saturday morning. Later on Saturday evening is our benefit banquet and awards at night. This is the time we induct the new officers, but also invite family, friends, partners who share ALJA's values and ALJA's goals to say, let's come together and support this work because it will be a fundraising evening supporting our media development fund where we're raising money to support our work for the next year. That will be the climax of the activities on Saturday. And then Sunday, of course, we do gather, as we always do, to hold a Thanksgiving service, just to appreciate and thank God for whence He's brought us and pray that He continue to guide ALJA for the foreseeable future. So that is the lineup of the activities for the convention.
Wow, that's great, Mr. President. You talk about Sunday. I know I have some follow up comments, but let's go to Sunday. One of our brothers just launched a book, and he'll be launching it on our Sunday, and he's inviting ALJA. And the brother I'm talking about is right here, sitting before me right now with this book. Yeah, he's one of us, and we are proud. I'm beyond that. I mean, thanking God for the wisdom He's giving him to write this book. So he's launching it on Sunday. What will be ALJA's involvement in that book launching, if there's any?
Yeah. So as a matter of fact, my and I said to him behind the cameras, on the telephone, like you, I'm extremely proud of Dr. Redd and his work. Not only because he's a personal friend, but he's a member of ALJA, and we do tend to celebrate our members when they achieve a milestone such as the one he has achieved. So, Dr. Redd, again, on behalf of every one of us at ALJA, from the leadership to our different chapters, we're incredibly proud of this work. We know how hard you work to get to this goal. It was not an easy task, but we're grateful, we're appreciative, and we thank you for adding to the literature of our country. What we will do, and I talked to Dr. Redd this morning, I understand that the timing of the program so look, kind of conflicts with the Thanksgiving service, but I said to him that we'll try to abbreviate the Thanksgiving service. If we have to run out of there 30 minutes early to make sure we are at the book signing to give our support to him, we will do that. So we're coordinating on this end with the committee, and we will be there in full to give him all the support that he needs as he launches his book.
I love
Thank you,
that.
Mr. President.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Mr. President, and
yeah.
thank you for the leadership. And since you took your baton from Mr. Moses S. Sandy to becoming president, you have been elected twice unanimously, as well as the predecessor. And you have been working assiduously over the years. I know sometimes it can be frustrating when it comes to getting the logistics together, when it comes to getting membership together, a lot of other things. But we all go through that in the organization and looking at various chapters that we see today. And all the chapters and these leaders and members are preparing to come for this national convention in Minnesota, where you have the bulk of Liberians residing. Now, it's going to be a very big occasion. And if for our listeners now who would like to come and when they or watch the occasion or be part of the occasion, what do they have to do? How do you get access if you're a member, if you're a person listening right now, you are not a member of ALJA?
So we have our members who are out and about and selling tickets to the event. You can also purchase ticket on Eventbrite. Our information is on Eventbrite. Just go in there. You can purchase electronic ticket and present that when you get to the program site. The major event is on Saturday, the fundraising gala and the awards night is on Saturday at the Ebenezer Community Church, the exact same church where you will be launching your book later on that Sunday, the day after our event. It begins at 7 o'clock. Other members are expected to be there at about 6:30 to do the red carpet, and then we want to start promptly at 7 o'clock because we have a lot to tackle. We want to not just go through the activities we have, but I think our members genuinely want to have some good time, and hopefully we can be able to do that once all the talking is done. So I'm engaging all the speakers and telling them to abbreviate the remarks that they will be making, so that way we have some time left to just have fun and fellowship amongst one another. So yeah, so the tickets go on sale. Well, they're on sale now for $40 single. So we're not selling couple ticket any different. So if you and your wife is going, just purchase two tickets at $80. We have patron tickets for $100 and special patron for $150. We have invited the heads of the Liberian community here. We've reached out to the different county and other organizations, nonprofit organizations here in the Twin Cities. We've reached out to the executive director and members of the Liberian Business Association. So we've trying to touch as many bases as possible to make sure that we have a broad base of Liberians attending the event that evening.
Yes, yes. And it's going to be exciting. Minnesota is going to be on fire. Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, Minneapolis, all the surrounding cities. We have all Liberians living there. So if you're hearing us here, please come and show support to the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas. And remember, the current president, Joe Mason, is a resident of Minnesota. So this is the time for you to show up and support him in every way. That's how you show your brother love. And if you're part of the church, if you're a Christian listening, yes, this is the right time that you can show the support so that we all can share that love among us, and also for the world to see how we share authentic love. Now, for this occasion, Mr. Mason, I know it is somehow enlightening and also exciting that we are having this convention in Minnesota. And also, on a side note, you'll be leaving and a new leadership will be coming in. Not sad in a sense that, we'll miss you because of your leadership you've shown over the years. Now, what are some of the highlights of some of your achievements, some of the things that you've done so far that have been keeping ALJA going?
Yeah. Thank you. I'm someone who believes in service. I really do. I believe I take a lot of satisfaction in giving back, in helping out, in lending my skills and expertise in whatever way possible. If I can brighten someone's day, that gives me enough satisfaction. I know I went out, I think last week, I was invited to serve as guest speaker at an event, and my teenager always accompanies me, and I think she's gotten to the point right now where she believes, and I'm trying to get her to that point, not just her, but all my kids. They understand how important it is just to render service, to give back. And so that is something I really do love to do. So when I stepped in the position 4 years ago, mind you, I was vice president 4 years prior. So I served as vice president for 4 years and then took over as president for 4 years. I recognize the challenges that come with this position, and well, I fully cognizant of that. But I realized that I brought a lot, and I felt that I could get a lot accomplished with the core of members that we have, you all included. I just needed to tap into the potential that existed in ALJA for us to be able to achieve some of the things we've done. And I think history will be very kind to my leadership, to my presidency, because I believe we were able to achieve a lot. Of course, this to be a company when it comes to ALJA, but I think we moved the goalposts significantly forward to the point where I'm pleased that I'm walking away, that I'm leaving it in a place where I think whoever takes over can only do better and not do worse. So you asked these guys, let me specifically talk about a few things that I'm really proud of. Uh, when I took over, we had just launched the Media Development Fund. I think we recognized that for us to do the work that we need to do, for us to be able to make the impact that we need to make in the media landscape, we needed to move beyond, because ALJA is funded by our membership entirely. So we felt that we needed to broaden the resource base for us to be able to just achieve some basic things that we needed to achieve. So the media fund drive is a way of doing that. That was started, just as my predecessors last year, and so we step up the effort to raise money. And so through the media fund drive right now, we are providing logistics to the Liberian media. in the tune of thousands of dollars. And we've gotten testimonial from a number of our colleagues in Liberia that the assistance we rendered, whether it's laptop we gave, whether it's micro recorders that were given here, we recognize how important and how essential that has been to help our colleagues in the work they do. We've also established the Joseph Tay Memorial Scholarship Fund, and that scholarship fund has gone to supporting students at the Department of Media Studies and Communications at the University of Liberia. That is something that we're very proud of, and we're looking forward to our successor, increasing the numbers of students who enjoy ALJA scholarship, because we recognize the challenges that exist when it comes to students who want to. I know the university is tuition free, but just having someone pay a tuition doesn't guarantee that you'll be able to go through school with the ease that you need to go through when you have all the different challenges that exist. So we're trying to meet some of the challenges in the scholarship we provide, and then just building the capacity of our colleagues. We talked about the fact that many of our colleagues lack basic training. We talked about the fact that there's so many institutions chasing so few qualified journalists in the country. So we've been stepping up to the plate and providing training and building the capacity. We've done trainings in Liberia, directly with some of our colleagues who've gone there. We've done virtual training. We've had a number of our colleagues come up here to the United States during our convention, and we provided training as well, because that's our way too of saying, look, we recognize the challenges that exist, and this is what we want to do to help, make it easier or help our colleagues there, be better trained. I talked about some of the partnerships we've established. I've mentioned the Herbert School of Journalism here at the University of Minnesota. For us to be able to continue to build the capacity, we need to partner with institutions and individuals who are trained to facilitate those kind of capacity building. And so this relationship we build with these institutions, I think they will yield benefit not just now but in the future for ALJA. As a matter of fact, the ICI, the Institute of Community Integration, that we have partnership with, provide small support to ALJA, not on a consistent basis. They do that regularly because they believe in the work we're doing. That is something that never existed, and that is something that we're doing now. So I would have loved for us to be able to, generate a lot more resources, and I'm hoping that that can happen with my successor. But these are things that I look to, and I'm really, really proud. We've also enhanced, ALJA's footprint. We've got a New England chapter now. That is strong. When I took over, they were just getting on their feet. Now they're strong. They hosted a very successful convention last year. The DMV chapter now is trying to get on their own feet as well. Deddeh and his folks. So I think there's a lot to be proud of, and I'm leaving with my head up very, very high, because I believe, and I don't take credit myself. None of this would have happened with other co-op officers that I do work with. My vice president, Dr. Johnson, Dr. Sam Johnson, my national secretary general, Akai Gladden, national executive leadership, the chapter's head, chapter members, heads of different committees. They've all contributed to where we are today, and I can't thank them enough.
Yes. Yes, we are proud of you. We are proud of from Moses Sandy, who resurrected ALJA along with other members of ALJA, and here we are today talking about ALJA and the immense impact in the democratic process when it comes to the political landscape of our country, and also the culture and women equality. The idea of justice. ALJA has been releasing some very powerful or impactful press releases that speak about national issues or ills in society. And so ALJA as a voice is still outstanding, and we are so proud to be, members of ALJA. Now, looking at the convention that is coming up here and looking at our colleagues that will be coming from Liberia to join us, how many are they that will be showing up?
Right now, we're looking at half a dozen. There might be more. And if you consider that 2 years ago, we did not have any representative from Liberia, I'm pleased that half a dozen is an improvement from zero. I'm hoping that we can have even more than that. There's still confirmations coming in from some of our colleagues who who had late interviews at the embassy. So we might have more of those individuals coming, but there'll be other colleagues coming from outside Liberia. I know that there might be one or two colleagues coming from Europe, and we might have a colleague coming from Saudi Arabia. So folks are coming from different parts of the country because this is the largest gathering of Liberian journalists outside Liberia, and so it's a big event. Again, like I said, many of us we know each other from our time that we practice, and so those relationships that we form over the years, we've managed to maintain them. So in addition to all the wonderful things we do when we get there, it's a way of just keeping in touch and hanging out and continuing to strengthen that bond of friendship that exists amongst us. So it's going to be a wonderful weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. I know, like I said, my last I'm counting the days. Saturday, exactly a week from today. I believe by this time Saturday I'll perhaps be in my last hours as president. But I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward. You've get to that place where you are at peace and say, I've done my term. Now it's time to move on and have someone take over. That's where I am right now.
That's great. Congratulations, Mr. President. You stay our president, so we'll still regard you, refer to you as our president. Even when you leave, we still call you Mr. President.
Okay.
Once a president, always a
Also,
president.
President
Yeah.
Emeritus. He's going to take the title of Emeritus.
No, but Moses is gonna keep half of that title. So there's gonna be. I'm gonna watch to see when we'll have events now after this time. Let me see who's gonna be projecting that title more than the order of emeritus. So, but in the
Yeah,
case, we'll
emeritus.
leave our Moses and Missy. But back to the convention. The team is clearly couched from the leadership for this convention. I will ask you to state the team and give us the rationale behind our team.
Yeah. So when we do have these conventions, it is incumbent upon the leadership to sit down and drive the conversation about what is it that we want to talk about at these conventions. So when we sat down, it occurred to us that the elections was months away, and there were a lot of things happening. There was skepticism about the integrity of the poll, whether these elections will be free and fair. The people talking about violence, and I mean, there were a number of different things happening. So we felt that was important for us as an organization to speak to these things because we realized how important it is for our country, for our democracy, and for our future to have an election that is free, that is fair, that is transparent, but also to ensure that the election process itself is held in the manner that is non-violent. Because we know our history, we have a checkered history when it comes to violence and what has happened over the last several years. So that was what we decided to speak to. So the theme of this convention is how can the media ensure a transparent and violence-free 2023 general and presidential elections in Liberia. So that will be our team, our focus. Again, I think I said on a platform sometimes yesterday, the day before, that I listened to the chairperson of the Elections Commission who said in no uncertain term that these elections will be free, it will be fair. She said there's no way anyone can cheat in this process. I was happy to hear that. I was pleased to hear that. We will hold her to will be focused on doing this election. Our speakers will speak to that team. There'll be, the major speaker and some of the other presenters that we have will all speak to that team in terms of ensuring that come October 10, these elections are free and they're held in an atmosphere of nonviolence.
Talking about the speakers, Mr. President, we'll have a keynote speaker, and I'll ask you to maybe just introduce her. And who is she? What information do you have to share that we don't know yet about the guest speaker? And the follow up with this guest speaker be the installing officer as well?
No, she will not be. But the guest speaker, I'll go back to our thought process around the theme of the convention. So we talked about the team. One of the things we all said was when we hold our convention, it will be just weeks away from the general elections in Liberia. We don't want our platform to be used by any candidate, any politician, or government official to influence the process. So we said we will not invite any politician because we've had politicians address our convention over a period of time, whether it was Mr. Cummings, Councilor Gonglo, and the likes. We've also had government officials who we've invited, the Ministry of Information, Press Secretary to the President. They've all been a part of our convention. But we said deliberately we will not invite any of these folks to our convention this year because we did not want to offer them a platform where we will be seen as supporting one side or the other. Because ALJA is an advocacy organization, we nonpartisan, and so we said we'll go out of the space we normally go and invite someone who we believe doesn't have a stake in these elections. So we invited Representative Nakita Ricks. She is a representative in the Colorado State Assembly, and she is of Liberian origin, but also an American who holds an elected office here. And when we thought about her, when I spoke to her, I was also surprised that even though she is a representative here in the state, she has a really good understanding of what is unfolding in Liberia. She's plugged in. She listens. She knows what is happening, and she expressed some of the same sentiments that we have as an association relative to concerns about the transparency of the process and some of the violence we've seen. So we thought she was just a perfect fit, and so we really be looking forward to hearing from her on Saturday when she speaks. So Representative Nakita Ricks will be our guest speaker for the Saturday event. There was another question you asked. I don't know what that question was.
The guest, the installing officer.
Yes, the installing officer will be someone else. We've asked our host, pastor, the Reverend Dr. Tabla, Francis Tabla, to serve as the installing officer, and he graciously accepted. So he was the installing officer when I became president, and
exactly that's what I'm almost.
Yeah, so I'll say hopefully the blessings that came with me will follow my successor, and he will continue to do good work. Because I don't believe in coincidence. I'm a believer that all things work together for good.
For those that love the Lord and go according to His purpose. Yeah, wonderful. When the presidential forum you talk about, I'm not sure you mentioned the names of those who have agreed to participate in the presidential forum.
Good point. So
yes, just a moment. Let us take a break, and when we come back, hold your thoughts. Let us take a break. And for all of those who just joining us, this is the Gracious Hope Live Podcast, and we are speaking here with our special guest, the president of the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, ALJA, Mr. Joe S. Missing, who resides in Minnesota. And this year is the national convention. Is going to be taking place in the state of Minneapolis, and to be specific, in Brooklyn Park, where we have our ball on Saturday night fundraiser, and we have special guests and well wishers will be there, and we ask that you join us. Join us, and so we all can celebrate and talk more about our country and see ways and means in which we all can unite our country after even these elections that are coming up. And so share our link. If you're just joining us, share our link. My name is Pastor Alexander Redd, and with co-host Reverend Suah S. Deddeh, and we will be right back. Please don't go away. We'll be right back. Okay, so we are back here. Okay, Mr. Mason, go ahead.
I think I lost my train of thought.
The presidential forum, Mr. President.
Yes. The presidential forum.
Yeah. So, I got your back. Don't worry, I got your back.
So we reached out to the quote-unquote top tier candidates. Again, because like I said, in the interest of time, we could not take all the candidates. So we felt that the top tier candidates will be the folks we reach out to. So we reached out to representative from the president, the incumbent. We did for Mr. Boakai, for Mr. Cummings, Mr. Gonglo, and we decided that we wanted to balance the equation a little bit. maybe bring on a female presidential candidate. So we reach out to Madam Sarah Beslow Unity to be on the forum. Um, of the 5 individuals I mentioned, we've gotten a positive responses from 2. Councillor Gonglo has availed himself, so has Madam Sarah Beslow Unity. So we're, like I said, we're still looking. We have a week to the forum, so we're hopeful that between now to the forum itself, we will get feedback from the other 3.
That's great. That's great. Go
Well,
ahead, Ellis.
we are looking forward for that to happen. But let's look at some of the. I know we talk about the personalities that will be taking part in the program for our guest speaker and also the installing officer. And we have an array of guests that will be invited or that we expect to attend. Now, can you describe to us what atmosphere do you expect for this year, given the bigger community of Liberians residing in that particular state, Minnesota, this year? What will make it different than all the other years?
Yeah, well, like I said, we always do big things here in Minnesota. When folks think about hosting events, they think about Minnesota because the community kind of hold together. And we tend to support each other, and so I expect that we'll have a really festive atmosphere that Saturday. My church folks, people from my church, I belong to a church, and I'm saying to all my folks at church, I expect to see you at the event. All our members have connections, they have families. Again, like I said, we one of the things we've tried to do is um, when I look at this administration, I think I will credit ourselves for doing that as well. We are part, as much as our focus is on Liberia, we live here in the United States. It's incumbent upon us to continue to build relationships as an organization with different organizations, whether it is with the Liberian community or with other communities or other organizations, to enhance the work we do. Because these kinds of partnerships and relationships can yield dividend. They may not be in dollars and cents, but it can be in the support, more support sometimes that they rendered you when you need them the most. So we'll be looking forward to having some of the folks we supported in the past when they had their own event come to support us as well. So I believe it will be well attended, and I'm looking forward to having folks. Yeah, there will be some entertainment as well. We have a cultural dancer, cultural performance. We have a ballet performance, and we have a band. So I don't think we've had a band before at any of our events. So there will be a band.
Wow,
There will be a
a
band.
band.
Yeah, there will be a band.
What kind of music will we be playing?
So,
Spanish music.
so these are young people. By the way, the band. Disclaimer: the band is one that was started by young people, my son included, who plays the drum, and they've now they've moved beyond what they started off playing in the church, and so I try to show the pastor at the edifice that would be like, hey, these are church folks. The kids grew up in the church, so if they're not out there, so don't worry about the kind of music they will play. So they play contemporary African music, they play gospel. So and so it will just be a fun atmosphere, and they do a very good job. So I'm sure we'll have a lot of fun.
Are you gonna include some Spanish Costa dance where we can do some Spanish dance during the program? Are they gonna do some Spanish songs too? Because I'm a
If,
Spanish man. Don't forget.
if that is your favorite, Reverend Deddeh, if your Spanish orientation, I can check with the band, see if they can accommodate.
But Mr. President, I know there have been challenges along the way. And before you leave us today, would you share some of the challenges, the struggles, things you wanted to do that you did not do, not because you didn't try, but because it was not possible? So would you mind sharing with us and our audience some of those things you have in mind?
Yeah, yeah. I'll say, first and foremost, has been the challenge of funding. Um, there's so much that ALJA can do. That this when people talk about the expectation they have of us, I'm in awe because
Hmm.
sometimes I say to myself, "Wow." I wish we had the necessary funding to meet some of the needs that exist, because people assume that ALJA has this enormous resources that sit somewhere and it can be able to resolve every problem and solve every crisis. So funding has been a challenge for us, and like I said, we need to identify a significant source of funding outside of what we do as individuals in ALJA. ALJA is no longer the organization that can run on the membership dues we pay, or what we do meet at this convention, the conventions fee we pay. No, ALJA can no longer run on that. We need to establish bigger stream of revenue for us to be able to do big things. I mean, we last year we were able to reach about 20-25 media institutions in terms of the logistics we provided, but that was just a drop in the bucket. If you consider the significant number of institutions, media institutions that exist in the country, whether it's in print, whether it's electronic, I mean, what print and broadcast, whatever, radio station, television stations, the need is just huge and the resources are scarce. So that is something that I struggle with all the time in terms of how can we get beyond this point. And I know we tried, we did a number of different things. And I'm hoping that I'm going to leave out the blueprint with my successor, so that way they're building upon some of those things we did not do, and improving upon those things that we're able to achieve.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's good. Alex?
it seemed like a lot. Now let's get to more of a personal thing right now yourself. I know to be a leader of ALJA organization like ALJA is very tedious, because your ears have to be open to the happenings of the day, whether in the chat room or whether in Liberia, and because you are like a watchdog. Even though people say, yeah, journalists in America, they are retired, but yes, we come together for what we believe in, that we share as our commonality. We share everything common and what we know. And we believe that we do so because we want to make our country a better country after tumultuous years of political instability or unrest and issues of injustice. Now, you have been speaking out for the past 4 years as president in your capacity of ALJA. And you did receive some feedbacks from people, and at the same time, you process them and you discuss it with your executive members of your team. Now, and you personally too, in your leadership process, you lost your mother, and so tell us, for those emerging leaders who are listening to you now, how have you been able to cope or grapple with all of those challenges?
Yeah, it's a good question. Mario, I do have a big family. I got 5 kids. Over the years, like I said, I've been in this process now for 8 years. When I started, my kids were, I think my youngest was about, I would say, 3, and so how to deal with those different challenges every single day. And people think that these responsibilities are not huge. They are. I mean, every day, because of who we are as an organization, I need to keep in tune what's happening back home. So I'm constantly monitoring and listening to news feeds from Liberia. I'm providing them myself, because not just listening to what's happening, but I'm providing my members and people who are part of our forum information as well. So I do have access to those information. I'm plugging with different media folks who are back home, who are providing information, and some of those folks I'm compensating on my own, because I need the information. It is not something. If for me to be the best president I can be, I need to do the things that I believe are important to help me. So if it's someone providing me information on a consistent basis that I think I need to at least some compensate for at some point outside the organization funding, I would do that. But in addition to that, I'm also speaking to folks who are policymakers. I'm hearing things, and for us to be able to speak with some sort of authority, for people to respect who we are as an organization, I'm speaking to people at different levels when we hear information. So I need to know that. I'm also in tune with my members. When folks I aggrieved, they're reaching out to me. When there are issues in the organization, people are calling me. I'm also monitoring our different chat rooms to make sure that when there are issues and there's confusion, I'm there to put out the fire. If does it always happen in that way? No. It is always tension. There's always back and forth. But at the end of the day, I couldn't be more grateful for the folks that I've worked with, and the fact that they entrusted me uh, twice on a pool to serve in this position. I think it speaks to the confidence they have in my ability. So yeah, it's been challenging, but it's also been rewarding. And you mentioned my mom. That was a difficult period for me, but my members came around. They were really supportive. It was during COVID, and people flew in from you all flew in from out of the states to be here, and so it was just those occasions where you say, "Look, it's this thing. What I'm doing is worth my while." And look at the love that I've received from people who are taking the time off from what they're doing in COVID to come and sympathize with me when I lost my mom. The other thing too that I need to share, there's been nothing more emotionally draining for me than when we lost a member or when a member is sick. The deaths we've had in ALJA, they've been really, really, really difficult. Whether it was that of our colleague Joseph Day, whether it was that of Dima Savage, or whether it was Mariza, those things tend to hit you as the leader of an organization, because you keep asking yourself if there's something more that we could do, and then you begin to marshal support from our people and see how but throughout these different tragedies we suffered, our membership have been amazing in terms of just reaching out and giving back and being there and traveling thousands of miles away. So I think ALJA is a very unique organization, and again, like I said, it has been an honor of my life to serve for the time I've served. I couldn't have traded it for anything.
And your wife Kate, I know she's a kind of quiet person, but she has been doing a lot in the background, because for every
Yeah,
successful man there is a strong woman.
Yeah,
indeed. She's the
yeah. But
giant behind the giant.
but truth be told, she can't wait for my last day. So now I was speaking to you, and she and I we had something to do today, right? And I just got back from the church, and she was already ready and waiting for us to go. I'm like, no, I gotta see what interview I have to do at 2 o'clock. So we'll go after I do it. Like, I gotta get. I'm like, yes, I gotta get. We just got one more week, so
That's Ata Mama.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. But you're right, though. She's really been supported no matter what, and we see her at conferences with her condominium. I know she's a strong person inside, and she has her own opinion about things, and I think that strengthens you too.
yeah,
Because I believe she gives you sometimes a piece of her mind on certain things.
yeah,
Like, look, this one, so that's a good thing in a wife you want to have.
yeah.
You talk about the church. That would have been my concluding question from my end. How has faith kept you going, Mr. President?
Uh, I think more than anything else, that is my source of strength. I don't think I could do this without being a person of faith. Um, and I do have a responsibility, as well at my church, and so they understand these competing priorities that I have, and they know that I take satisfaction from what I do in terms of being a service oriented person. So they've all been very supportive. My pastor, I know you've met him, Reverend Deddeh, a few times, and you all will meet him again when we do the Thanksgiving service, but they've all been supportive. You see many of the folk church people at the program, and I couldn't be happier for the family of faith I have in the faith chapel evangelism ministry. But that has kept me. And you mentioned my wife. I don't think I would have done this without her support. When colleagues of mine approached me 4 years ago to contest this position, she obviously was the first person I spoke to. I like, this will require, significant significant responsibilities, significant challenges, and and she agreed. She was more than happy, but I know sometimes she regrets because there will be many days when I'm in the office at 2 o'clock in the morning, working on the press release, and she will be calling, "Are you not coming to bed? Are you not coming to bed?" So
That sounds familiar, Mr. President.
so I
That
said,
sounds familiar.
I like you sign up for this thing. You don't tell me you don't know what this thing I'm doing or but no, I couldn't be more grateful to her. But even the kids, I know I've had to sacrifice, things at times. I know there will be Sunday evening when we should be doing Bible studies, and the kids are doing Bible studies without me because I'm at an ALJA meeting. Normally we are at meetings on Sundays. And just those little things that I would not have back, when I'm no longer president. So, but again, like I said, it's been a rewarding experience, a very rewarding experience. ALJA as an organization has, in terms of the skill sets, in terms of the knowledge, the experience of people in ALJA, it's huge, and that they will see me as someone who they can trust the leadership with for 4 years, unchallenged. I think it speaks to their confidence in my ability, and I'm humbled by that. I'm just floored by that. So, thank you all for your support over the last few years.
Mr.
Yes.
President, before
And
we leave, Ellis, Mr.
oh,
President, I
I thought
want
you
you
said
to
the
do a
last question.
proclamation. I want to do a no. There's another question. I want to do a proclamation. The next time we're having an agile conference or discussion as this, and anybody comes with what an agile familiar, I think we should find them and
I
charge
can be
them.
fine. I got my ALJA.
I think we should find them so that we can
Got
put
it.
some money at that conference. I mean, this is my suggestion, Mr. President. Pass down to the new leadership who will be elected. If you come on a program like the Sony answer, and you know where your hat, especially your
Yeah,
cap, we
yeah.
should find you big time so you can
I
join for
agree.
this.
I agree 200%.
I agree, Mr. Deddeh. I agree. Now, President Mason, we know, okay, we'll recap here. So, arrival time will be on Thursday, the 14th in Minnesota. And then Friday will be the meet and greet, right? And the boat ride. Saturday, business meeting, okay, in the morning hours, and then election. And then the winner or whoever wins, okay, will be declared winner. And then at the nighttime is going to be the ball at the Ebenezer Church ballroom, correct? That is 9200 West Broadway.
9200 West Broadway. Yes, Brooklyn
Yes,
Park.
yes, in
Zip code
Brooklyn Park.
55442. Yes.
Yeah, that's what will be. So if you're listening to us and you live in Minnesota, tell your friends. And it is a Liberian weekend too. So
Correct.
that's a
Correct.
place that you can come and join us. You'll meet friends. People coming from out of state. People be there. You know, occasion is where you meet people that you haven't seen for years. So surprise, surprise. You know, and then lastly, President Mason, please tell us what is the future like for you because you qualify to be the president of Liberia. You do. So
He
we
studied
have that.
something already. He studied something already. He studied. Don't let him trap you, Mr.
But
President. Don't let him
hey,
trap you.
so have you thought about any leadership? Maybe serve your community, serve the House, the Senate in the future. What is the future like for you, President Mason?
Funny you
Politically,
ask that because I think it was last week where I got a call from another organization that I'm a part of and saying, "Hey, do you want to step into this leadership role with our convention coming up in a few months?" I said to them, I just need to take a break. I need to just, hang out with my family and just spend some personal time. And then I will probably consider because when you believe in service like I do, you always land somewhere else, wherever that place will be. But I think it's too early now. I just need some time to just reflect and just spend hang out with my family, focus more on doing some of the work for the church. We are having a big renovation right now at the church, and I was just there a few hours ago, and so that's a demanding responsibility as well, given my role there. But in terms of other service responsibility, I will just take some time off right now and just do some reflection and enjoy some family time.
See, that's a
okay,
politician
take your
speaking
time.
right there. I mean, the man.
Yeah,
The
but I
man
mean,
has graduated into the politician class. You listen to the answer. I mean, just
but you
that borderline.
it is an immense pleasure, Mr. Mason, to see
Uh,
you as a friend and brother. And you are
yeah.
of the faith. You believe in Christ. You are part of a church, and you play a significant role in your church. We have seen you over the years through being the vice president for 4 years, and then you were unanimously elected by the National Assembly as president for 4 years. That is a remarkable record as compared to other organizations. I'm not talking about ALJA. If we compare and contrast, where some people, they serve for just one term and they kick them out, but you were able to keep your cool and all of your skills. And it takes wisdom to where you are. It takes wisdom, and you pretty much, you know, did all you could, and you're doing all you can right now until your legacy is sealed. For not only just the end, but it's going to continue. But for all the time you've been serving, you serve with diligence, you serve with selflessness, and with all of the crucibles along the way, you were able to persevere. So we'd like to commend you, and we'd like to close this podcast by praying, if you don't mind. Let's pray.
Certainly not.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this moment right now. I pray, Lord, into the life of President Mason for the job that he has done with his staff, those who have been helping him, the Vice President, Dr. Samuel Wade Johnson, also this National Secretary General, Akai Glidden, as well as all those who are in various chapters, leaders, and those who help and support in those chapters. We just pray, Heavenly Father, for unity. And we pray, Heavenly Father, that you will continue to strengthen each of us so that as we bounce ideas off of each other, will be a result that will come into fruition when it comes to love, compassion, the issue of justice, and everything that we all advocate for, so that we can have an enabling environment to live for not just for ourselves, but also for future generation. And as we leave the podcast, we pray that you will keep us safe until we can arrive next week, from the 14th through the 17th. We ask that everything that we expect, Lord, may you make them happen so that we can have a successful convention this year. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you,
Thank you.
brother.
And thank you all. Thank you all for having me. Thank you all so much.
And we
Congratulations,
appreciate
Mr.
you.
President.
Thank you.
Job well done.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right. Man, that's good though. Joe, I've been knowing him. We talk from time to time, and he's seen somebody who is cool, calm, and collected. What has been your assessment so far?
Well, he's cool, calm, and collected, but he's a strong fighter, and that's the kind of leadership that I like. My time with the president, most times I was quiet, but when I spoke, listen, because when you keep speaking on every little tiny bit of thing, people don't take it seriously anymore. But when you speak on things that will claim their attention, that will draw the attention of people, then people begin to listen. And that's the style he has. And I've been following keenly. He's determined, he's focused, he knows what he wants. And that's one thing every leadership should do. You should know what you want, because if you don't know what you want, you're going to fall for everything. And,
Yeah.
and that's the focus he has. And I pray that our new leadership, whoever it will be, will follow that example, not as Joe Mason, because he's different, but every leadership has a different style. But his style has been a strong, firm, but collected and focused. And a leader that is focused on the purpose is ready for that task. But if you're
Yes.
not focused on that purpose, you're going to lose the whole thing. And that's what I think I've come to learn about our outgoing president. The next thing is he does not hesitate to talk about his faith. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, and that is a good thing. Some of us want to not mention our faith, or let alone let people know our walk with Christ Jesus. And for me, that is not a good thing, because if you cannot say your faith clearly, you have something to hide. And he's open to saying his walk, his work in the church. And I know I visited his church more than once. At least I think you visited there too.
Yes.
Yeah, so we know who we are talking about. We just pray that God will give him other opportunities that he knows, that God knows that President Mason will take on head on. So, but I'm curious to know too about your own keen observation of his leadership.
Yeah. Like I say, he's a cool guy, and I hope that the opportunity will avail itself for him to serve our country in a much bigger way. I mean, if he's running as maybe representative or senator, I will support him. I will pray with him. I will support him financially because I know he's qualified, and I know that he has exhibited that or demonstrated that among us over the years.
Yeah,
And so,
and Alice, we cannot forget this. His wife. You met. I'm glad you brought her into into the podcast. She's been very supportive of her husband.
mhm,
Not many wives will do that. The up and down, the traveling, the sleepless nights. He had to be on the phone with us and the other members of ALJA, trying to navigate through the difficult challenges that he had to confront. And so we also want to give thanks and appreciation to her. Hats off to her for standing with our former president, not former president yet, our outgoing president here, giving the support and the prayer, and the children too. All of these
yeah.
factors come into play. And we want to recognize all of them. We're not losing sight of the fact that they contributed to his success. His
Mhm.
wife, his children, the rest of that. So, Ellis, I know you join me in expressing our thanks to Miss Mason and
Yes.
the children
Hey,
as well. Yeah.
yes, we do. All right. So this is how we leave here today on the Gracious Hope Live podcast. And we'll be back here next we'll be back here next Saturday because we'll be at the
We will be in
convention.
the we
So
can do it from there. It depends on
yeah,
what.
it's gonna be busy over there, unfortunately. But I know the program will be live
Yes,
through
yes,
KFTV, I
yes,
believe so.
yes.
So if you want to watch the National Convention of the Association of Liberian Journalists in America, it's next weekend in Minneapolis, Brooklyn Park. That's where we'll be. And the ball, come, let's join us. Let's marry, let's eat, and listen. And so we will look forward to seeing you. And it's a Liberian weekend. It's the best time that we all can, see each other or one another because we haven't done so for years.
Yeah.
And so that's how we leave here today. And we'll be back here again after a week after our convention. We'll be back here.
By
And
the
please
grace
share
of
our
God.
link by the grace of God.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Thank
Okay,
you.
brother. Blessings, blessings.
You too. Bye for now.